Welcome to the Wellness Help Desk with your host, Nike Lamodi, certified wellness coach and personal trainer. A wellness podcast focused on providing practical tips on how to curate a healthy lifestyle uniquely for you, where we discuss wellness hot topics with expert guests and have real candid conversations. It's the one-stop shop you need to get the help you've been looking for. Let's dive in. Hey, and welcome to the Wellness Help Desk. I'm your host, Nike Lamodi, and this is episode 30. So excited to be here. As always, I can't even believe we're 30 episodes in. Thank you so much for listening in, whether you just started listening to the Wellness Help Desk or you've been here since the very beginning. I'm so grateful. And it's so crazy to think that the podcast is a little over a year old and we have well over 1,000 downloads. And that really blows my mind because I don't market or advertise my podcast. I don't know how people are finding the podcast, but I'm grateful that they're finding it. And I'm really grateful that it's proven to be helpful to you and empowering you and equipping you to make yourself a priority and take care of yourself. So grateful to have you here. Continue to share the podcast with that friend or coworker or neighbor that you know really could use some support. So for today's episode, we are going to be tackling 3 questions that you can ask yourself when you don't feel heard. And it's a common human experience to not feel heard at times. And that can lead us to feel a lot of different things and take a lot of different kind of actions. But I really want to provide you with these questions that will help guide you through how to process your feelings. Because what are you presently doing to process your feelings when you don't feel heard? Do you give a silent treatment? Do you shut down? Or are you a stuffer? You just keep stuffing and stuffing and stuffing? Because it's so important to recognize this because of how it does affect how you show up as a mom, as a friend, as a partner, in your job. And if you are more impatient with the small things your kids do, or you lash out at your kids more frequently, or you give your partner the silent treatment, then this exercise below will really be helpful for you to utilize. The next time you don't feel heard, really work through these questions, whether it's out loud or in a journal. And I really want you to go in with the mindset of you are looking to be curious to uncover your feelings and your thoughts, because that way you will honor them. And by honoring them, you'll be able to process through them. Processed feelings mean that you're able to show up in your relationships more calm, clear on what you need, and can properly communicate that. The quality of your relationships improve when you process your feelings in a healthy way. It's not someone else's responsibility for you to process through your feelings. It is your responsibility. And in doing that, it positively impacts the relationships around you and how you show up. So let's jump into the first question. What feelings come up when I'm not heard? Okay. And this is really a direct introspective question. And if you have a hard time pinpointing what emotion is coming up when you're not heard, there is the friendly emotional pinwheel. And you can just put that into Google and it will come up. And it's a really helpful tool to help give you guidance on what specific feeling you may not be able to put words to, but you know that there's this big emotion you're feeling. And I really want to encourage you that whatever emotion that comes up that you identify that you're feeling when you're not heard, remember that emotions are messengers. They're there to communicate to us something, that a need is not being met. So they're not there to shame you or to be critical, but to provide information. The second question is, what do I make not being heard mean about me as a person? So evaluating what the truth is versus what thought narrative is running on autopilot in your head based on your feelings or based on past experiences. For instance, like, are you assuming people don't care about what you need? Do you believe that your voice doesn't matter? Right? And that's why I say, what is the truth versus what autopilot thought narrative is playing in your head based on past experiences, whether that was as a child or sometime in your adulthood. It's really, really important to put that down on paper or vocalize, okay, what am I making this mean about me as a person? The fact that I feel that I'm not being heard. And really take your time answering this question, because it will really help you reveal a lot and help you to see if there is truth to what is inciting a lot of your emotion. It will help you be able to say, what are the facts of this situation? The third question is, how can I have my own back in this moment? So in what ways can you show up for yourself in this moment? How can you trust yourself to show up for you in the moment that you don't feel heard? How can you be your own best advocate? Because in doing this, you're allowing for yourself to, hey, acknowledge the feeling, honor the feeling, right? Be curious about it and decide, okay, how am I going to choose to have my own back? Maybe that means going to have a conversation with a specific someone, or maybe that means giving yourself what you need in that moment until you're able to regulate your nervous system and get more grounded, and then address if it was a conflict, or address, going to extend apology to someone, whatever it is. This exercise will provide you with the validation on what you're feeling and clarity on how to move forward. It's so important to be able to process through feelings when you don't feel heard, because if not, the adverse impact of it is you can start to become resentful, or you can start to become bitter, and that can show up in your parenting, that can show up in your relationship with your partner, that can show up in your friendships, and it just carries with you subconsciously without you even really realizing it. And you always will have this subtle resistance and tension because you don't feel like you're being heard. And then that repetitive adverse or feelings that don't promote any kind of positive benefit will lead you to believe other narratives. Well, no one cares about me. Well, no one wants to help me. Or no one doesn't care about my feelings or my voice and what I have to say. And then that just perpetuates over and over and over. And you just find yourself after a period of time completely burnt out and completely agitated and irritable and a host of other things. And so it's really important to be able to process through what you're feeling when you're not heard. So just to recap, the 3 questions are: what feelings come up when I'm not heard? What do I make not being heard mean about me as a person? How can I have my own back in this moment? Now, in the intermission, which is my coaching program for burnt out moms, we work on these 2 areas. We work on the areas of nurturing your thought life, and we work on the relationship with yourself. And this is to ensure that your cup will continue to be filled no matter the season of life you're in, so that you can feel like the 5-star mom that you are. Because in doing this work and focusing on these areas, it allows for you to process through what you're feeling, know what's going on, and to be able to have the confidence and the clarity to make that request, seek that support, ask for the help or whatever it may be, so that you can fill your cup, meet your needs, and make yourself a priority. I would love to hear from you and help you to do that. Just go to the link in the show notes and schedule a free consultation with me, and we can be able to collaborate together on how we can do this for you in your life, so that you can actually feel on the inside what you know you're doing on the outside as a 5-star mom. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening in. If you enjoyed the episode today, head over and leave me a review. This helps others find the podcast and be one step closer to curating their healthy lifestyle. Come connect with me over on Instagram at Nike_Lamodi. And if social isn't your thing, Join my beautiful newsletter community via the link in the show notes. To learn more about exclusive one-on-one wellness coaching, head over to randawellness.com. As always, remember to give yourself grace.